Hello, I'm Sharon Martin. I'm a licensed psychotherapist specializing in codependency, healthy relationships, and setting boundaries. So I'm here today to answer another viewer question about boundaries. So let's get to it. Here's the question. What if you're always setting a boundary with the same person 3 or 4 times a month? Won't they begin to get upset that you are always putting limits on family time? I love this question because I think it really speaks to a common fear that so many people have about setting boundaries, which is if you set a boundary, you put a limit, you say no to something, that people are going to be upset with you. And the truth of the matter is that this is entirely possible. People may be upset with you for putting limits, saying, I can't do something, I'm not available, I can't stay all day, or I can't talk to you on the phone endlessly. But I invite you to really think about what is the alternative. If you do not set a boundary and put some kind of limits on the amount of time that you're going to be available for other people, even if it's something that you might enjoy doing, most of us have other things that we need to do. We have competing demands on our time, our energy, our money, our resources, which is exactly why we need limits or boundaries. In order to make sure that we can prioritize and get to all of the things that are important to us, and that we aren't spending all of our time doing something either that's not of value, not important, not aligned with our goals or values, or maybe it's something simply that we don't enjoy spending a lot of time, money, energy, so forth doing. So once you kind of think about that, I mean, I think there's a certain reality that we all come to, which is that I have to set some limits so that I can arrange my life so that it works for me. And really, I think if you think about it from the other person's perspective and think about what are their expectations, and are those realistic expectations for how much you can give to them or be around and available for them or the activities that they want you to do. It's possible that your family members or your friends, your boss, your colleagues, whoever it might be, that they do expect you to always be available. But of course, as I said, that's not possible unless you are willing to sacrifice, your health, your emotional well-being, your goals, your values, your interests in order to make somebody else happy. And I strongly encourage you to not do that to the excess because it has really negative consequences for us, both for our physical health, our emotional health, and our overall satisfaction in life and for our relationships. It certainly doesn't set a good precedent for us in relationships to be so accommodating that we're really sacrificing ourselves and what matters to us for other people, because that is ultimately sending the message that you're more important than me. Your happiness is more important than my own, or your health and well-being is more important than mine. And really what we want to be saying is they're both important. My needs and interests and wants are important. So are yours, which is why we often have some compromise in relationships when that makes sense. But it can't be completely one sided so that I'm doing all the giving, I'm doing all of the compromising to make somebody else happy when they're not willing to do some of that compromising too. And one form of that compromising is for them to be understanding when you say, I really need to get going now. I need to get off the phone. I'm sorry I can't stay for the entire gathering, or I can't help you out when you move next weekend. Again, they may have some feelings of disappointment or upset about that, and that's okay as long as we're able to talk about that, work through it, and come to an understanding that sometimes we're going to have competing needs or wants, and that's where there has to be that give and take within our relationships. Okay, well, I hope that's helpful, and I'll be back and talking to you again soon.